you streaming here or what? What's going on? This is excellent connection. I don't see video. All right. That's my test. You can see this. I'm gonna get started a little early because I need to sharpen some pencils for today's session. After if you're joining me early, just gonna set up and sharpen a whole schwack of pencils here. There were ones from last week. They just dulled down, so I need to get them back to where I need them for today. And I like to have 5 of each. We'll start with the Conte because most likely this is what I'll be using today. If you are interested in sharpening your pencil other than watching me here on the Atelier Artista YouTube channel, the one you should be on right now, unless this is being broadcast elsewhere, has a free video on how to sharpen your pencils. So check it out, a little more explanation of the tools and tricks, some of the things I've learned from doing this thousands of times so far. Even if I do, sometimes they break, and you might be in luck today and watch me break one. Hopefully not for my sake. I like to make them about 1.5 inches long when they have that thick diameter that the Conte has. Like this one's actually pretty good. It just needs a little cleanup and some sandpaper in the next step. So I'll still take the shoulder down a little bit. I like it to look clean at first. So just get rid of what my hand had rubbed into it previously. The studio right now is full of secret project work, so I am crammed right into the far corner of the studio, and I don't have the downward facing light to sit under because that's in the center of the room. So hopefully the light's good. I'm sure it will dim throughout the session, because I'm not moving much and the LEDs are controlled on a motion sensor here. So I might have to get up periodically and turn the lights back on. Also, sad fact of the matter is that we're coming to the end of summer. The sky is blue now at least. So at least we have enough light in here. It was overcast and rainy this morning. And that made it quite dark. So I am going to say that we're going to start in about 10 minutes. That brings us just after 6. Often people are a little late getting here if they're going to join in. So we will be using, as always, the Punt de Moro timing, which is taking a break every 25 minutes. Although what differs from the online streaming is I don't take a big long break in the middle. And by doing that, I save a little bit of time at the end so that we can take the drawing and compare it to the side by side. Oh, that one broke. Up on the screen next to the reference material. It's kind of like a little critique. By that point, after talking for 3 hours, and I get up at 6 a.m. and I've had a full day of work. I just finished fogging all 4 floors of C-Space, every nook and cranny, every handle, every washroom. So I'm already a little bit low on energy. And so in the next 3 hours, well, that one's toast. I'm giving up on that. It keeps breaking. Sometimes you get a pencil and in that case, the lead was broken many times throughout. Maybe I had dropped it, maybe it was in shipping, maybe it was just poorly made. Sometimes you get really crummy wood as well. These things happen in manufacturing. You can't expect the invisible to be perfect. The makers of this stuff, they don't know if there's a knot in that wood, or maybe they do know and they just want to send it out for profit. But I've gotten used to it. People play the lottery and they put their hopes into odds that are far worse and against them than the odds that we have with these pencils sharpening properly. If we take time and care and get our skill up, this is a skill, you need to practice it. Whew, broke that one too. You know, it's funny because I feel very calm. I think this blade is dull. So I'll throw it away, switch it out and see if this helps. Oh my god, yeah, okay. So there you go. That, the last 2 breaks, more than likely dull blade. This blade is also a little dull. I've been using these ones all summer. I have not replaced my blade in quite some time. So that's something to be mindful of as well. Blades do not stay sharp forever, especially because this wood is a little bit hard. In Calgary, it's also dry, so I find that there is a different feeling when I was drawing in San Diego or growing up in BC. The wood stayed a little bit softer. I don't know, it came off a little bit more buttery. This one's almost good too. I'll just take a look. Whoa, a lot of shoulder came off there. So that wood just cracked right off. So, right? Just a grain error. So when you got them this long, you do have to be quite careful. And then I removed the glue, because there always is a little bit of glue, because I don't like the blade to touch the drawing material. I don't want to gouge what I'm drawing with, or I just make another shoulder, which makes another line. So that one looks perfect. So let's switch over. We've got 5 Conte. Oh, let's just maybe do one more Conte. Just looking for a holder to extend it. So these Derwent holders, they come in 2 packs. There's a wide one, and then there is the standard size. And often I have to take this all the way off to get the Conte to fit, because they're a tight fit. There we go. This gives me a little bit more length and leverage in terms of sharpening. So you invest 10 bucks, get the 2 holders, and I think, you know, in maybe 3 months to a year, depending on how fast you're drawing, just having the holder is saving you money because you're able to sharpen right to the end. You have like a centimeter left on that. So 5 more minutes till we start. If you are watching this on YouTube as a replay, fast forward already. I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't put timestamps on these videos, but here's another one that's breaking lots. These could have all been from that same box. I haven't ordered more Conte. I still have a lot because I had ordered tons before we were forced to close. But they've been sitting around. I had another idea where I'd put them in a humidor and see if that helps. Making this wood a little bit moist. Possibly that will help maintain the integrity of the material. You know, they do it for violins and cigars. Maybe it needs to be done for our drawing devices. Well, that one's toast. So you saw it here, 3 pencils of $4 each thrown out. I mean, I drew with them last week, but you know, I'm not going to be able to salvage that. So I will call it in. And let's move on to the hard charcoal. I'm not really sure what I'm going to use today. Maybe a bit of charcoal in the beginning, maybe Conte again. I did decide though, it's been quite some time since I used the smooth newsprint. So I'll be using a pad, probably just the second sheet used in this pad, of Strathmore smooth newsprint. When you go to the art store, the newsprints all look the same. You really got to read the fine print on the front. A lot of art stores don't carry the smooth because they don't know that's what we artists want. So I have told Doug Swinton thousands of times. So I believe he's carrying the smooth Strathmore, the exact same paper that I'll be drawing on today. I really do suggest the smooth, a lot less rubbing, a lot easier to just glide over and erase and get different soft values and tones. Part of the reason why I chose the smooth today was also because this little boy holding a snake, that's white marble. It's lighter in color than the toned paper I used last week. But the other reason is that smoothness. The smooth marble, you know, children have soft features. They're not all wrinkled and old like all of us are. And so it's nicer to have a smooth finish on the paper to get a smooth look to our drawing. So we're almost there. This one's fine. We just need a little sandpaper. 2 minutes left, although I might give it a few more just because I want to put these on the sandpaper. If you don't have sandpaper, you can hold the pencil upside down and actually carve the blade, carve the tip this way with the blade. I like sandpaper. It's easy. Sandpaper's cheap. I got every type of sandpaper in a little clamshell for like $3.99 at Princess Auto. So that also can't be beat. Wherever we can with these art materials, we want to get them cheap. These are the things we use up, and though they're write-offs, you know, like a smoker to their cigarettes, you got to just keep replenishing your stock. The sandpaper lasts a long time. I probably have enough for my entire life for $3. After the sanding, they get all charred up, so you see how much powdery material there is on there. You want to also wipe that off on a paper towel or Kleenex, whatever you have. Your pant leg if you want. So let me just pause time here for a second because I do want to finish this and let some others join. They will probably be getting their notifications that this is going on. If anyone joins us today, I can just be talking to myself. I really don't mind, because this day, this night, is all about committing to practice time. And if you want to get good at anything, here we go, time-wise. Consistent practice is the road to growth. I'll use that as a segue. You can consistently practice online. There's a lot of opportunities like Croquis Cafe. Croquis Cafe, C-R-O-Q-U-I-S, used to be on YouTube, but because YouTube has rules against nudity, I think they moved over to Vimeo. You can go onto their website. You can also check out New Masters Academy. I believe they have some free resources. But also, I noticed that Croquis Cafe was on Instagram. So if you have a tablet or a laptop over a tiny little phone, you can just go to their gallery view and you could just draw from there. There's still images. Croquis Cafe videos are really cool because they have a timer on them and the model's actually sitting there, so those videos are not a still frame, which I think is pretty neat, because then you are getting a little bit of movement. Like, it's not as much as you in your seat because you're also watching it on a flat screen, but it gets you a little closer to drawing from life, which is the hardest thing. I often tell people that, you know, practice makes perfect. They got all these cliches. Things that are difficult are the only things that are worth doing, right? And you suck at them at first, and then you get that achievement of working hard on it and getting your skills up. The other thing is, I think that the hardest, drawing humans is very hard, especially if we had two during a sitting, two intertwined people. And more so, what about someone riding a horse? Wouldn't that be great? Horses are tough. If you grew up riding horses in Alberta, maybe you know a lot more about horse anatomy than me, and maybe it doesn't seem as complex. But basically, I feel like, you know, the front of the horse, its front legs are like human legs. And the back of the horse, its legs and ankles and knees, like it's backwards like an ostrich. So you've got the difficulty of a human and the difficulty of a bird, backwards leg kind of thing. All sorts of different muscle layout. But really any quadruped is like a human on all fours. But you really got to know where those muscles sit, or if the nose is dipping earlier. My aunt and uncle were opening an equestrian ranch in Carbon, Alberta, and they got me to paint some horses. And let me tell you, even though I copied from photo, horse lovers knew that I knew nothing about horses by the lack of understanding of some of the anatomy. I didn't know what lied beneath the skin, you know? And so they ended up looking a little bit flat and plasticky. Mind you, I painted them in like 2 weekends. Really just for show homes, to show the space. But, you know, you could get the wrong face on a horse and say, oh, I want to have a painted skin texture. And then all of a sudden, you have to a horse person's eyes, that's a monster, because that coloration and spotting would never be on that anatomy. So I made those kind of mistakes when I was first doing horses. So you got to learn your subject. You don't have to remember all the names of all the bones and all the muscles and tendons and ligaments, but you should be aware of them. Another way to get to learn those things is start working out. Oh, that pencil broke. Okay, I'm gonna call that done. I've got some people joining on now. So we've got our tools sharpened. Just gonna wipe a few of these clean. You see how much comes off. You don't want to be touching your paper with that pencil because it leaves a whole bunch of residue. So just wipe off the residue. Keep it clean in between. Just wipe off all the residue. It'll keep your hands a little bit cleaner as well. Oh, I found two more. Two more charcoals. So I like to have 5 drawing devices ready normally, but I dropped a few and broke them, so back to the drawing board, no pun intended. Maybe it was. Before we get started, I'd like to also note that we will be opening September 28th at the Atelier, and so we will return to Tuesday short pose, Monday rise and draw. Unfortunately, because of previous credits and an already established group, plus reduced numbers, Monday's session is already full, but our registration for everything else will open on September 7th. So drop-in can no longer be drop-in because we need to manage our numbers, and they're going to be half of what they were before. It's going to be a real tight break-even situation for me. So I could not do it at all, but more importantly, I think we as artists need community, and we also need to practice. So it'll be really nice to have that going again. You will go online and you can sign up for the particular session you want. So you can either pay if you haven't paid already, or if you have a multi-pass, you are welcome to select that option, and it will just be used towards your credit. So that does make it cheaper, but I just have to manage the numbers. Speaking of managing the numbers, I'm going to quickly wash my hands before I get started. Sharpening can be a messy job. So I got a little spritzer here. Every student will get a spritzer at their station when I open. And they'll be able to disinfect their space before and after if they want. And I have some disposable masks if anyone forgets. However, you can't even come into the C-Space building without a mask on anyways, because it's a public building. We will have ample social distance between each donkey, and Bobby Dunlop helped me figure out how to fit safely as many people in here by changing the corner that we set up the model stand in. You know, I've been here years, and you think, oh, well, the first way I thought of is the best way. But it's not, actually. We figured out a better, more efficient way where a lot of people can have more space. And then that way, it's not all congested and stressed out. So, I'm just going to remove the drawing from last week that was already on my board. I'll just move it elsewhere, because I decided that I would like to do the Strathmore newsprint. And it says here, very small writing, smooth. So the other newsprint looks exactly the same, but it will say rough. You want to make sure you're using the smooth. You can definitely feel the difference. This is nice and slick. And when drawing on newsprint, it's good to have about 20 sheets underneath. This first sheet is ripped, so we'll just leave it be. This image is tall and skinny today, so we will work in the vertical format. And I'm going to stare and look for a while, so I'm going to hit start. I'm going to figure out my center lines. I'm sure it will go through his foot, his ankle, the back of his knee, his groin, his elbow, side of his face. But that won't be centered to the paper. It'll be slightly offset. So, you know, you don't draw things right in the middle like a bottle of wine anyways. That's pretty basic art stuff we all should know. And we'll just go from there. So you can go on the Atelier Artista website. Under figure, the top menu item is the live stream. So today because it's September and it's the start of a new year here at the school, like back to school essentially, I emptied every single thing, documents, downloads off my computer. So I have to connect to a hard drive to get things back on. So I'll just move this reference material so that it's nice and centered in my screen. Ooh, she's loading slow. After doing that, it only opened up like 90 gigs. The hard drive's 500. Come on, open up picture. There we go. Okay. So when I flip up the screen, you'll see later what I'm seeing. But essentially, it's a picture in the middle. So I'm gonna put a crosshair in with charcoal for the demonstration so that you guys can see. Normally this is just in my mind's eye. I'm like a sniper. And we'll get going from there. Just gotta open up the chat window in case any of y'all are there. Okay, let's get this show on the road. So maybe I'll start with just a bit of an envelope. I chose this because I really like the shadow on the wing on this side. I wanted to work with some design, some dark shapes here. Head's about here. And I'm drawing it about the size of an egg in this case. So if you're drawing about the same size as me, you'll find that that egg size is pretty good for a head when you have a full standing figure. Although this is a little boy, you know, maybe closer to being a teenager. You know, it's about 1/3 of the whole top quadrant. Okay, got the head, shoot the neck down. All right. Nice. There goes our wing. I'm using straight lines mostly. This wing crosses over and it's almost as tall as the head. So I just put a little marker there. I bought a sculpture for the studio, which also has angel wings. So if I take the length of the head, 2 lengths is where the hand ends. So it's giving me a chance to do a little bit of measure as I go. So it's neither gesture or traditional approach, just feeling it out. The torso, he's in contrapposte. Directly below where the ear is will be his hip. I'm gonna thin this a little bit. It's a skinny little guy. Because I've aligned to his heel and his shoulder, I always look for 3 points where the body crosses. So here I have his groin. And a little palausi, as my father used to call it. It's palausi. That is not a Portuguese word as far as I know. It might be slang or something. down, and it touches the knee. I'm just going to take a measure to make sure head to groin is groin to foot. Head to groin, groin to foot. So the first heel will be here. The second foot, I'll use an arc to describe it. This wing is something like that. The other hand is about here. With the angles, I can shoot it up to the forearm like that. In my head, usually, that's when I'm doing that. Hey, Keith's here. Keith, I'm not going to be drawing for much longer. You're going to make me paint. And I think when I start painting, that it's going to be embarrassing for one thing. A little rusty from the life painting. In fact, the last time I really did it was when I was studying at the Paris Academy with Shane Wolf. We've had the odd session here, but so that's going to be interesting, and I'm considering still doing the live stream during those sessions, but no talking, since we will have people in the group here. Don't want to be the annoying voice, you know? During people's drawing. Okay, so we got kind of a skeleton here. This goes up, maybe a little bit more angled. Now, the lower part of the body looks curved. In fact, one head length away is how far that leg comes out. So I'm looking good here. Let's check the hip. A little bit less is where the hip is. So I'm actually looking pretty good. It felt off. He felt a little wide, but I've got to consider the height here. That will make up for it. The hips come in. They're towards the trochanter. They're parallel here. That tilt. Okay. Got that leg. From the top of the leg down, halfway is usually the bottom of the kneecap. So let's do it. The bottom of the patella, right there. So that also is a little signifier for us. I would say that this leg probably needs to, well, there's the calf, probably needs to move over a slight bit and be a little thinner. In previous videos, I talked about how I always make the leg too thick. Well, now it's not. So fix it at the start, right? Okay. This is a hard charcoal. Okay, so I'm just gonna see. This distance is equal to the height of the foot up from the bottom of our page. Now, I'm just going to take another measure just to make sure. Head to there. The legs are a little bit longer in my version. And that is correct. Okay. Just, you know, like a carpenter's cut. Measure twice, cut once. That's where the neck should be. That will push the chin over a little bit. I've got a tilt there, right? The chap. So I'll be building the forms on top of these lines. It's the center line of his body. There's like a triangle that comes down from below his chin. His face mask is right there. It's like a little Cupid. He's gonna tighten his bow. At first when I was looking at it, I thought he was like wrestling a snake. Now that I've got it blown up, I can see what's really going on. Heel. Okay. So this kneecap. So the back leg, you need to, so the bottom of the knee is halfway through, but this dimension is longer because it's closer. So then we take this dimension and pull it down, and that gives us the bottom of the kneecap. Now it will be slightly smaller, slightly higher, because it's a little bit further away. So we get a shortening of this limb. And at first that can throw you off because you want to draw it the same. And they should line up vertically to the hip in this case. I have to say that all the time because observation trumps rules any day, I think. So we'll put the heel right there. It is where I decided to put my vertical line. Often I think either I'm going to drop the plum from the neck pit straight down, or I'm going to take one of the feet and I'm going to rise the line upwards. You know, and that's kind of the way I think about gesture as well. So that'll be the calf. And the foot is at an angle, so I can hold my pencil up to my subject in front of me, same angle. It's really not that deep. And just do a check, the foot comes up and out. So when I start, I just kind of draw a wedge for the foot. This one's a little bit of a wedge too. I might make this toe a little further out, a little further down. Angle up. And out. Just think of a paddle or a wedge for now. Here at the trochanter, the leg comes out. There's mass to that vastus muscle up there. Right there. Okay, so we have now some negative spaces we can reference. The bow comes down. This is the hard stuff. Like, man, I mean, these guys carved it out of marble. And you'll see when we put the stump here, that's actually what helps stabilize and hold up this figure, because the legs wouldn't be enough to do it on our own. They've got this tree, and you see this a lot in Italian sculptures, to help stabilize the form. Hey, thanks, Greg. Haha. If you and your family are watching, or at least listening, I'll try to say things a little more interesting. Because sometimes talking about the drawing and whatnot, for non-drawers, hearing the word value all the time, it doesn't make sense. But I'm glad you can join me. Everyone who follows, I just so grateful that with all these things we can do in the world, that you pick your time with me. to do what I love to do until I get my Bob Ross special on TV. Maybe I'll have a show. I guess I should do a lot better at my audition, which is this tape. Speaking of Bob Ross, I pre-purchased a new game, Bob Ross Monopoly. Now Monopoly, as some of you might know, was actually designed to be an anti-capitalist game to explain, you know, the ugly side of capitalism and what the developer of the game wanted to say about the rich getting richer and stepping on the little man. And I mean, if you've ever played it, I think when my brother and I played it growing up, that more often than not, the Monopoly game got smashed, worse than chess, and like landed on the floor, you know? And Monopoly, like Louis C.K. talked about this in the stand-up, that it's not a nice game, you know? Like it's you destroy the other person, you try to get all the hotels, and you try to get as much debt and ownership of them as possible. So, that being said, the Bob Ross version could not possibly be evil. It's probably a real togetherness game. The other Bob Ross game that I have, fun for the whole family, and you kind of work together. It's called The Art of Chill, and you like make Bob Ross paintings together, and any age can play it. I bought it for the studio, but we haven't really played it here. This is going to be a really nice piece to illustrate how to map out the lights and dark shapes. Well, because he's white for one thing, so that's going to make it a lot easier. So that's the bottom of the bow. Gonna have to make this as symmetrical as possible. That could be a challenge. There are little tricks. I'm gonna try not to use them though in this drawing. Gonna try to just do it with my eyeball. This bow needs to be a little thinner. Anyways, I pre-ordered the Bob Ross game, and I hope it's good. I think Hasbro delivers it out September 9th. Man, it was expensive though. But I think in general, Monopoly is one of those more expensive games. Plus they've licensed the Bob Ross name, so that probably adds a lot of expense. Plus the shipping from the States. But when it gets here, I look forward to playing it. Maybe some of you will be able to come play. Actually, does that mean I have to sanitize between every dice roll? Maybe it was stupid of me to buy that game. I can play it by myself. I used to play checkers and chess and Go. Actually, I still play Go by myself. That's such a hard game that you can play yourself, because there's really like, you can't kind of set yourself up in the same way. It's more complicated. That's the Japanese game of Go. It's like little, oh, lights just went down here. Little black stones and white stones. And you place the stones and you try to encircle the enemy stones, basically. It's a war game. But it doesn't feel that way. So, this bow is killing me right now. It's gotta be up higher. Then it drops straight down. There we go. Archers will also know. I've done archery in the city here, and it was really fun. I tried fencing up by the archery place. They're all up in the northeast where I was going. It's a cool little hobby. None of these things are cheap, mind you. And it takes some skill to develop. I'm gonna push the leg out a little bit more this way. I'm looking at the negative space in this case. So that this knob is by the center line, and there is some space here. So I have to thin the leg, but also put it out a little bit more. Finesse. So we've got 5 more minutes. I'm going to try to get the other side of the bow. If I run my pencil straight across from the chin, which is lower than the shoulder, I get where the top knob of the bow is. Also, if I travel this line, this angle, the angle that I copied from my view, that gives me a correlation. So that's where I'm going to draw the knob of the bow. And it curls down a little bit into the hand. One side's catching light and the other is in shadow, which is kind of nice in describing that form. That puts his knuckle right there. So even finding that correlation helps me shorten the hand location. The thumb, it's very scooped. I hope you guys can still see the screen all right. The lights, of course, as I mentioned very early in this cast, because I am in a different part of the room, I don't have the overhead light shooting down. So the lights will adjust to the brightness or darkness outside. So I may have to get up periodically to stop and turn on the lights. I don't know, maybe the camera's adjusting for you guys. Some fingers. Okay. So I can break down some of the angles of the bow here. It goes nearly straight up here. This is connected like that. So if I could see through his fingers, because there's got to be some fold, some flesh on the other side of the bow in order for it to wrap around. That's where the thumb will be, coming through the other side. And then it starts to curl up and over. So there we go. That's okay. It's an accessory to the drawing. Still using just a hard charcoal. On the smooth newsprint, it's quite soft. Makes a little bit lighter line than a soft does. Soft will make quite a black line because the material rolls off so easily. There's a space between each finger. So I do change the grip a little bit when I'm sketching here. Just because I'm just using more of the tip. That's what she said. Okay, so just over a minute left in the first of the 25-minute Pomodoro timing. In the next section, I'll refine a little bit, and I will also, let me drop, I'm not sure, maybe I'll start with the head, or I'll start drawing the shadow shapes already. This is going to be a little bit softer to shade. There. Because he's supposed to be in white marble. There's his chest cavity. Kind of scoops around like that. And then the pieces, the top of the hips. So this will curl like this and actually come down. Not quite that high, but and also not quite in that much. There we go. Tend to over accentuate the curves. Whoa! Okay, so if you're with me and you're drawing along, I'm gonna hit the lights on because it got dark here, and we're gonna take 5 minutes. I'm on the last part of my delicious meal. Just a little bit more from the garden, goat's cheese, all sorts of yummy things in here. Got to finish that off. Turn on the lights. So take 5. Come on, lights. There we go. Oh. I'll come back before the 5 minutes are over. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When you feel all the time that you've drank too much wine, you're in love. Ah! It's just my keys. Now, I've already noticed a few things, like this length to this length, way off. They should be equal. I think this part of the leg is also a lot longer than it needs to be. Yeah. So my knee should be higher up. So there's a few things. I might give a little erase here. So I'm sitting and observing now while I eat my salad. My friend Melissa went to Brenda's place. I don't know which Brenda. I think one of the model Brendas. And got to pick some stuff from the garden and brought it to me, and I washed it up. That's why there's liquid in the bottom of the salad. It's mostly water, not vinegar. A lot of the other figures that I have for reference, they don't have great lighting. This one's from Italy. A lot of the sculptures that aren't fountains are inside little cement areas, so they sometimes get bounce light, or they have a harsh shadow on the top of the head or something like that. So a lot of the photos I took were for references because I love the positions the classical artist sculpted in, but not the lighting isn't great, so I'm not wanting to share those references for you because I feel like they'll lead to more confusion in terms of separating the lights and the darks. Maybe some of you guys don't have mannequins to reference, you know, and figure those things out. So I'm gonna have to go through and pick some others from my collection. But there's also another caveat, and that is that a lot of the models, or a lot of the sculptures, are not nude. So there'd be a lot of time working on folds in fabric. And that's not really what I want to be doing in a figure demo. You know? I gotta bring the kneecap up. I'm not counting this as drawing time, just so you know I'm not cheating. This is just measuring. why my legs at the bottom were looking so thick. Well, they were long at the top and not long enough at the bottom. Sometimes you need a fresh view. And that is a pun. I have a fresh view right now of this salad. Mmm. Man. You know, I can't even get all this down. I eat a huge salad every day. But I ate my protein meal before my salad today. It's hard to get the salad down. You must do that in reverse order. So could I be here? Okay, all right, let's get back to drawing. Maybe you're just having me on so you can hear my lovely comedic voice. And maybe you're one of the past students or participants and you're actually drawing this image. Where are you at? Have you stepped back and had a look and assessed your situation? I'm gonna go up to 25 minutes here. Pontemoro timing. We're drawing something Italian and we're using the timing that Pontemoro in Italian is tomato or red sauce. So my feeling is, in order to keep these two lengths the same, I need to move up this little point. By moving up the knee, it's very low from the knee. So we'll move this up this way. We're nudging it from either side. It kind of curls around the leg. And rather than have it dip, I'm gonna run it nearly straight across. So I'm losing, on my drawing, it's 1.5 centimeters. And then we'll start shadow mapping. That helps bring them closer together. Oh, well, keep us together. Okay. Let's take some more measurements. Now, the top is actually longer than the bottom. But it's too late for me to worry about that now, because I want to get drawing here. Virgo power. Oh yeah. I don't have any plans for my birthday on the 12th, but I thought I would just come hang out the studio and maybe get a bottle of rum or something and just make art, and people can come and visit if they want. I think my friend Melissa said she was going to take me out for dinner. I don't know if that night. And now that I've set it on a recording, she has to. Haha. What with the restrictions? I don't want to push my luck. I don't need to go out or anything. But it would be nice to see some friends. You know, getting older. And I decided that I would get my portrait done by another artist who I don't know, on a whim. This artist is from here. I think one of Doug Swinton's students, or Chris's students maybe. And she is going to the Florence Academy, her second year, I believe. So it's kind of a win-win. I get a portrait done, and they get a commission. And I'm also, it's a seated commission, it's not from photo. So I have offered them that they can come here and do the reference, and I'll sit. Should be interesting. See how they do it at the Florence Academy in Sweden. That hand is getting a little bit too wide, I think. I might go with it, actually. Might go with it. Just drop the finger down. All right. So let's dance around. So things are looking a lot more balanced to what I want. Elbows right about there. So I'm going to squint my eyes and start drawing the shadow shapes. I'm going to leave the head, you can see where the face mask is, but I'm going to leave the head to the next section and just start mapping some of the shadows. So the separation of what is light and what is dark. Why am I saying all this stuff so implicitly? Well, because I'm not going to be teaching this stuff in the fall. The studio has to have low numbers, and so we're mostly going to be figure drawing and painting here. In order for me to get everyone who comes to the drop-in, I have to open up other times because we can't have everyone come in at once. So I'm not going to run a lot of classes, but my other teachers are coming back. Bobby has classes listed, so if you want to paint with her, she's got a new exciting class coming up, and everything is going, rather than raise prices for COVID to cover the cost, I'm pretty much just going to have everything on sale, first come, first serve. Unfortunately, that's the way she goes on the internet. I can't tell who you are until you purchase. And this will be the period of just barely getting by. Hopefully, all of our work increases. Oh, my reminder. Oh, gotta turn that off. Headspace. You know what? Today I succumbed and paid for the Headspace app. I've been using it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they give you like the first 11 training sessions free. But I, while meditating, reached that point that you read about, that they talk about with meditating, where you're looking inside and you have stillness. Those of you who know me know that I never sit still. My mouth in this never stops moving, but also I don't stop, thinking. And finally, after months of training, I had that moment of clarity. It was, I'm not saying I'm enlightened, but that experience was enlightening and so calming, and I got it. And I've been meditating since I was like 12, but something changed, and the Headspace guidance, it's like they talk you through, really worked for me and allowed me to get to that place. And so for $90 a year, I figure if it's gonna, even that one breakthrough, give me more things like that it's totally worth it to me. So I paid for it today. It's like 30 cents a day, so it's cheaper than a Costco Coca-Cola. There you go. That's the way I'm looking at it. So I've been doing Headspace for the last month and a half, maybe a little bit longer, 3 times a day. 7 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 7 at night. Because I had read a study, and it was also mentioned in the Jim Quick book, that those are the most optimal times to build muscle. The brain, I figured I'd treat like a muscle. And try to optimize it. I've also planned my course times around it. So I have a chance to do my Tai Chi and those things on break. Although I'll probably just be eating. But the quieting of the mind has been very helpful in this period. So this hand's a little bit big, which is why the other hand is probably a little bit big. Hey, Harry Wong. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming and joining me remotely, friends and family. I appreciate it. You know, we battle these devices. Man, this is the worst. Drugs and alcohol and smoking and this and TV. They're all bad things. Although I feel like I have to have this thing. But if I wake up and I pull this phone out within the first hour, the day is shot. Do not get distracted by the Instagram. I mean, it's designed to do that. It takes a lot of willpower to not fall for this crap. If I didn't have to have a phone for marketing or anything in this business, you know what? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I remember, and some of you guys will remember too, we used to just say a time we would meet and a place and we would show up. Now, it's like you can text the minute before you're supposed to arrive and say, I'm not coming. It's really allowed people to get flaky. Maybe that's just the people I know, but it's bullshit. So I like it to find an address because I don't know where I'm going half the time. Okay, getting caught up in the details there. How come nobody wrote in the text, Bunny, what are you doing? Don't do that. Anyhow, we're fixing it. Shadow shapes. So all that, what I just drew, was to get me up this arm, which essentially is a cylinder. And you'll see that I'm putting it down soft, not a straight line here. I'm not cutting it. Use the softer edge if you can, because then we can smudge it. And it gives us that tonal change. You can also go across the contour. That helps break up the line and soften it. But at first, I like to go the direction of the form. So just squint your eyes, and it's just like drawing an outer contour. This is a cast shadow in here. So this is charcoal right now, and it's soft. So I can just blast stuff in here. I'm gonna go over top with something darker probably. Like the Conte that I love so much. It's not regular Conte. Pierre Noir 1710B. It's black, but it erases. Cast shadow, the tip, hard edge. And the cast shadow describes the form it's falling on, the curvature of the torso. That goes across the pecs. See? Lines right up. And then down the front of the ab, all the way to the crook of the arm. And now that I'm seeing these distances here, I'm thinking that maybe, okay, there's a little bit of light, just catching the crook of the arm here. So, or sorry, the chest. I got different things going on in my head than what's going on in my head. And this is a light, but it's not bright light. So there will be some tone there. And on this side, it's like a paisley shape almost, representing the chest, and it fades out in a gradient. So that is brighter than that, but not by much. And here, under the arm, so there's the fold of the flesh. So these are casts. I like to look for a cast with the hard edge and make them dark. so I can use the tip of the pencil. Now it's a little bit softer in the actual reference, but in order to have a language being spoke, I would suggest not smudging that, but keeping it hard for now. It will soften by virtue of some of the rubbing you're going to do anyhow. So the shadow rolling over this arm follows the bulge that the press is, the arm and the chest is sitting over top of the bicep. And this is actually going to drop the arm down, which is what I want, because it was looking a little bit high for me. That in turn will drop the hand down, which was a little too big for me. Like that. So, you know, I spent all that time drawing small forms instead of first getting the bigger form going. The way I'm going about this is like I haven't drawn before. It's all a process of discovery anyhow. Discovering what you know or what you might not know anymore. A little bulge in the tricep area. This is a lost edge, so I don't need to continue the line. And then across this arc, across the chest right here is where that chest muscle is actually attached to this bone. Okay, thanks for reminding me again. So that's where the deltoid goes, right here. And this is like we want to soften everything because he's supposed to be young. He doesn't have super developed muscles. They're soft and round. His body is also quite feminine. Gods and cupids, yeah, that's how they look, I guess. So soft edge again, down the forearm. Here, you know, you can be a little bit ambiguous because we are going to smudge. And then we'll enhance that core a little bit more in order to help the forms pop. Okay, now that was not an alarm. Whoever is calling me is not watching this live stream. Go figure. Okay, lats. Actually at the back here there's a little bump of the teres major and minor, then the lat, coming down to the oblique. So those are muscle sheets that are either coming diagonally or wrapping around and attaching from the back up here. All of here is not pure white. It's not a lot of super duper pure white, but we'll enhance that. This is going to bring the bow further down, making it appear longer as well. So that's good. We needed that. But here, from the bow, across the fleshy part of the hand, showing the curve across this part, across to the top, is a cast. And here, across the knuckle, this will be the first knuckle now, and we'll squeeze in the other two in between. And that also helps me elongate this thumb, because it was looking a little short in my original. Awesome. I love it when a plan comes together. That was Hannibal saying on A-Team. whenever we played A-Team as kids, I always wanted to be Murdoch, the crazy one. He once escaped an insane asylum that they kept him in on a chair with a bunch of helium balloons from a birthday. Kind of reminds me of what David Blaine was trying to do recently through YouTube. He had to cancel it, but he's going to float himself like 10,000 feet up in a bunch of helium balloons. A very, very dangerous feat. Kind of will look like Up or something. Alright, 6 minutes. So just throwing some tone down. Like I said, I'm leaving the head to the next one. But that makes me have to get to this neck. Curls around. We got a neck pit right here. So we'll put that in. And the chin goes across. So it's a simple tube. So these are the types of shapes I like to get in the beginning. Okay. This is a half tone. Okay. Part of my reason for doing that is to extend the shape of this wing. I like the fact that this is in shadow because it's further back, and it does tell the story, but I might not have to draw all the feathers in. I can just make this a flat value. I winged it there a little bit, so just winging it. So there's an overall angle that they go up at, and then I'll just cut out each individual wing shape. There's a part here that kind of reminds me, they must have fixed his arm and maybe glued it back together, or this is where, you know, sometimes they have a little metal post inside these, and these sculptures actually were mounted, whether it be broken or whether it be carved that way. So there is a ring around this arm. Maybe it was repaired. You never know. I also drew his testicles man-sized. It's supposed to be a little boy. The Italians, I don't know what it was. The Italians made all the dicks really small. We could give this boy a little more oomph. So there's the cast shadow from that. It goes all the way down the leg, up and across and turning to the knee. So it's following the curve of the leg. Yes. True, Dustin. Sorry if I'm getting late to the comments. Trying to draw. Okay. So that becomes that knee. So I go from the hip to the foot, halfway, bottom of the knee. Now that's a rule. It helps me locate that. And so when I'm looking at the shadow, it comes from the bottom of the knee and up. essentially, it's more like an S curve, but like that. Now this is a cast shadow, so this will become very dark and it can have a hard edge. In fact, this cast shadow has a little dink shape on the leg, on the source material. If you're not looking at the source material, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But he's not circumcised. Draw it whatever way you want. This would have been the way, the style. My friend Harry sent a funny meme about that. Harry, you were on this chat a second ago. It was like Jesus sitting underneath the tree, talking to his followers. 43 seconds. I have to look at it because I can't quite remember the wording of it. In fact, I'll hold it up to the screen because it's fitting. Oh, there it is. There it is. The Romans, they had Christians. And Jesus says, I'm like, take the skin off your peanuts, man. And he totally misheard me. Ha. Well, anyways, we're at break here. 5 minutes. Thanks for the comedy. Oh, Dustin has put a very useful fact on the chat, guys. I'll read it out. Small genitalia signified intelligence, and large penises were associated with foolishness, lust, and ugliness. Thank you, Dustin. I think I remember being taught this kind of stuff in art school, and I guess the smart guys had small dicks, and they were ashamed. I recall, too, that a big penis was seen by the Romans as being foreign and brutish and animistic. And so, yeah, it was, well, this is also a child, presumably, but yeah, it was seen as brutish and not good. But you know what, the ladies got with the gladiators, so I'm sure that maybe that was the men's rules, but I don't think the ladies will have changed. I think they liked the dumb guys, obviously. God, I must be so stupid. Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break here. This is coming along nicely. I hope that your drawings are going well too. This message is brought to you by Bubbly. I freaking love this stuff, but I have a secret. I add monk fruit sweetener, 2 drops of it, and it makes the lemon lime one taste like Sprite, but with no sugar, no spike in your insulin level. I have had many vices in my time, and one vice that was really bad was Monster energy drinks. I really like Coca-Cola, and I just work all the time, like 15 hours. So when I was teaching at AU Arts, formerly ACAD, I would need to crank back a Coca-Cola between my day job, my mid-job, and then the night teaching, just to have the same vibrance and energy I like to have to inspire people. And it was killing me. So I thought I had a heart palpitation. So I went to see the doctor because that is obviously very serious. So I was supposed to fly to Japan, and I felt a tinge in my chest. And I mean, I'm in my 30s at this point, and I'm like, what the hell? I was still doing martial arts, and I was relatively healthy eating. However, I was drinking these drinks at nighttime with caffeine and a lot of sugar. So I go, and they take a chest scan, and nothing's wrong. They're like, you're healthy, your blood pressure's good. Let's check back in a few days, and then if all your tests come back the same, I'll let you fly to Japan. So I fly to Japan, and I get off the plane, we're traveling around, and I get a little tired, and so I go to one of the soda machines. And this is when I realized that my problem was Monster Energy drink, because I had been drinking them. I didn't even tell the doctor that. And in Japan, they didn't have sports energy drinks. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's what it was. So it turns out that those energy drinks, it's not that it was a heart problem. It was a dehydration problem. And the muscles in my chest were just really tight. Like the actual chest muscles, not the heart. So I had to get off the Monster Energy drinks. The bubbly helps me because, you know, when you're in your 40s, sugar's not great anyhow, but it's a lot harder to drop the weight. And for the last 2 years, I'd slowly been gaining. And it's hard to tell because all of you see me in my clothes mostly. And so I started to get only fat in my midriff, my belly area. So I'm pretty sure it was sugar. So now, since January, I've been on the keto diet, which means no sugar, no wheat, and I have maintained my same weight and athleticism of my 20s now. So I don't work for them. It just happens to work for me. I have no heart palpitations or chest pains. I'm doing 150 push-ups a day and feeling great. So sugar, this was one of the answers for me. I don't smoke. I barely drink. Although when you mix drinks, unless they're mixed with bubbly, you're adding all this sugar again. But I was thinking for my birthday, if you guys come down, I would do mojitos. That's my favorite. So that's bubbly water. They do use simple syrup, which I'll have an option, but I'll just use my monk fruit sweetener. Rum and mint. Which actually, now that I look at my garden, I don't really have any mint. Or pina coladas or something. Something fancy and summery. Because it's Virgo time. Which I still think, like, yeah, we had this crummy day here in Calgary in the beginning. But I really think we're going to have a late summer. So, you know, mark my words. I'm not a weatherman. That's not my specialty. I just draw. But we had such a late spring that I feel like our summer will go late, which is great for y'all who are growing your weed, because chances are if you grew it outside right now, I'm gonna bet a lot of money that you are barely in flowering. We don't have a long enough warm season here. So you're just growing it for fun, shits and giggles. You're not growing it for medicine. All right, back at it. So just a shadow on that wing. I might even do the same, like no detail in here on this back wing. Let's go for 25 more minutes, and this will bring us to the halfway point. Now I'm getting a little nervous. I started late. I'm going slow and steady. So relaxed. But we really have to crack the whip now if we're going to get this thing done. So I'm going to switch over to my Pierre Noir Conte and just do the face. And then we say, it's done. Do the face, and then I'll move down. So this will be winging it a little bit. Don't forget to squint your eyes. So I'm going to start with the dark side, I think, here, where his hair comes down. Just carving out the angles. And it's okay to be architectural at this point. Straight edges and stuff. Because, you know, really, all I'm going to do is, I'm going to put this up in the hall. I am hanging a bunch of work outside the studio because we have Art City coming up. Art Walk is what it's called now, sorry. I've been here long enough that I'm just call everything like the old words. Some people still call me Brian. That pisses me off. If I have to say people's gender pronouns, they better say my bloody nickname. I've earned it. I've lived up to it now. But truly, I'm gonna have like an open house, and I might have materials for students to pick up, like have kind of a back to school sale in the studio, so that you can get what you can't get at the stores maybe. I do carry the smooth newsprint here, and I also have a whole bunch of acrylic paint and canvases and frames that'll be so cheap, because I'm trying to downsize what I've owned and collected. That's one of the things about turning this age. I'm like, you know what? I don't need all this stuff anymore. Kind of collected like a little bit of a hoarder, because as an artist I was always like, I might need this, and now I realize that my tools are much more limited and I don't need as much stuff as I have. But what I do need is to pay the studio rent, and I'm not going to be able to do that just by what I can host here, because our numbers will be cut in half. And I don't want to raise the price on anyone. So everyone will still be able to use their multi-passes for any of the open events, but it won't be drop-in, because I need to know who's coming and keep the numbers down. That's all the equipment I have, basically. This point that Dustin put on the chat, I want to go back to this small penis stuff. When I first moved in with my current roommate Ray, I met Ray in art school in the 90s. We've lived together, I think, like a decade. Common law. That's the running joke. When I first moved in, I would come out of the shower and I'd be like, Ray! Ray! And he'd run downstairs. He'd be like, what? You know, kind of like the boy cried wolf, like I had slipped or something. He'd be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, dude, can you get me a beach towel? And he says, why? I'm like, because regular towels are too small to dry my dick. And he gets so mad. So fast forward 10 years later, almost every month I still pull the same joke. I'm like, Ray! And he runs downstairs. And I pull my dad joke again and again, like constantly. Maybe it's going to backfire on me one day, and I will need a towel and he won't bring it to me, but it is pretty funny. I need a beach towel. Oh, we have fun. This will be more fun when you guys are here. We'll have to keep our space. I can't wait to see Keith again in the flesh. And Jeff. Feel like I have no friends when no one's here. I have a roommate that I can play mean tricks on for a beach towel. And right now, I am working with a fantastic artist in my studio on a secret project that you can only see if you come down. We can't put any photos on the internet because the design has been requested by the client to keep secret. But it is cool. I'm getting to paint under Doug Dreger. He had done many great things in the city, including the cups mural of those hands, the birds of hope. And when I was growing up, I lived on Vancouver Island in a town called Ladysmith, which was next to a town called Chemainus, which is where my best friend still lives with he's raising his kids there. And it was called the Little Town of Murals. And one of the murals back then was painted by Doug, who if you guys remember driving down 12th, there used to be towards east towards the Safeway, there used to be that Mona Lisa sculpture or signage. That was theirs. And I guess he told me today that that was going to be in the Glenbow as part of the Maverick show. But now I'm trying to get them to put it into C-Space because it's so cool. Anyways, at that, so growing up near Chemainus, I would see Doug's mural. Now, he had left art school. This is kind of the story that he was telling me. And that was his first opportunity for a mural. And he was like 20 at the time, and I was just in high school. And I used to drive down 12th all the time. I lived by Broken City and worked at ACAD, so that was my route home. And I was like, you know, one day I'm gonna go in there and ask these guys for a job. Fast forward to now, I'm working with them, which I think is pretty cool. Little small world story, for sure. The eyes are at quite a tilt. Yep. So we'll capture that. So you see the brow, and then it cuts back at an angle. That's the lid of the eye, and then the cheek. There is a lost edge on the bridge of the nose on the light side, but not on the shadow side. And the shadow side follows the arc down. So I'm squinting my eyes, and I'm just drawing the shape. Now the nose comes out at an angle, and if I go from my brow to my chin, halfway will be the nose. I may have a slightly longer face than I should, especially for a kid. They tend to be a little bit shorter and don't quite follow the rules. But the rules that we learn from like Loomis and stuff, it's more rare that you are drawing a kid anyhow. But something good to learn. So halfway from the top of the head to the chin will be the eye, and that's where the tear duct lives. There's not much to these eyes. They don't have pupils, but it follows this angle here. We'll keep it together. And you can shoot across to get that where that fold goes. So there'll be a slight toning there because the eye is a sphere. I may have even not made it long enough. Go here. Time is a ticking though. Gotta choose your battles wisely. There's a shadow above the brow here. Glabella. These sculptures, they tended to not pronounce the glabella and go from the tip of the nose up to the forehead, so in almost a straight line. And that's because the Greeks did that, and the Romans copied the Greeks. That, you know, they aspired to the Hellenistic style of antiquity. Michelangelo based some of his design work off the Belvedere torso, which was found in a farmer's field, buried. So I'll leave that, put some hair here, maybe a little indication of hair here. We'll leave it more simple. So let me just check my thirds. I'm going to drop the nose a little bit more. not quite what I want. The line of this diagonal should be how the nostrils go and the wings go, but also the mouth. So from the nose to the chin halfway, it's the bottom of the lip. And if I go from the brow through the side of the nose, that gives me the side of the mouth. So that's where the top shadow will be. Let's go like that. I will make it slightly darker. I feel like it should be a little closer to that top lip as well, or to the philtrum. The mouth needs to be a little bit higher up. You see how easy that, and then when you draw a kid's mouth, you make a big dimple in the front of the lip there, that bow part, and then a little bit more on the side. There we go, and a little bit under the lip. It might just be a factor of me moving up the chin as well. So there. I hope you like doing this stuff. I'm having a good time. We got to talk about some dicks today. That never happens in a figure school. That is off limits, actually. And I'm okay with that. Speaking of models here, we also have, I think, about 6 new models on the roster. Some who've worked in Montreal, like places like Concordia. So it's exciting to, I'm gonna have a lot more days, but also a lot more talent. It doesn't seem like too many places will be doing figure in the fall. So who knows, maybe I'll be the only show in town. And if that's the case, we're gonna make a lot of new friends, and we're gonna have a lot more opportunities for people. I'd like to get the models work as well, for sure. We gotta make sure our economy goes around. So I'll darken the wing behind now. It's one of our darkest areas. Now normally I would suggest working on the left to the right, because as your hand drags, you're getting material. But maybe we will use a little crutch, a little bridge. Whatever it takes. But I need that value on there. And this smooth newsprint, you see there's no lines, like it just goes down so nicely. Now I'm turning the pencil too, I'm sharpening as I go. And sometimes it's nice to make your dark a gradient over, like. So dark to light. Because then we can pick out the core shadow after. We go over top like this. Soften some things here. Okay. Keep darkening this wing. I guess I should erase that little demo bit. We don't need it. You see also how smooth and clean this thing erases. Man, it's beautiful. I love smooth newsprint and the Noir Conte. Downsides, should mention them. Not archival whatsoever. Not in your hopes or dreams. If you come down here and look around the classroom, you'll see how yellow this paper goes. I think that has a charm on its own. It also becomes brittle from light and oxygen. Even if you spray it, it's meant to fall apart like an old comic book. That's all newsprint is, really. So great for practice. Now, the way you work on it is not so dissimilar to very expensive paper. But those are made out of cotton, whereas this is 15 to 30 cents a sheet. Maybe not even that. The others are dollars a sheet. And then, you know, you start to get, if you draw 5 days a week like me, that's going to get expensive real quick. And you're going to have to sell those drawings for a lot more just to pay for the paper and your time, right? So, although I don't really sell the newsprint ones, they're just practice. We got to keep up our skill after all. Sometimes I do, with the caveat, I do tell people what they're getting themselves into. It's only fair, but some people just like the drawing so much. I've sold quite a few just off doing these demos. So if you're pining, this won't last. But you can own an original. Okay, nice soft tones. We haven't really done much with the lower body here either. So let's map this down. There is a deep shadow shape. It's triangular. I'll just make a triangle. Dark, 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 dark. Cast shadows, our darkest darks. Remember to turn. Turn your tool. The cast shadow describes the form in which it's falling off. So look, it's showing the leg turning. And we worry less about the shape of the wang. My friend Cosmic said he would come and DJ some of our drawing sessions. He's now spinning on vinyl. He's gonna spin tomorrow night at Broken City's having like a patio party, I guess. So I'm gonna go with my friend Steph to that. Support the guy. He was gonna actually come and practice spinning during these, because there's so much space in here. Practice his vinyl while I did these drawings, but YouTube will shut it down because even though he's spinning vinyl, there will be copyright strikes. It's just the nature of the beast. So that's not going to happen now. So we have no royalty-free music, which was really annoying that one time. Those of you who joined, you know what I'm talking about. Jeff couldn't even handle it, I don't think. Use that finger, make it soft. You don't need, on the smooth newsprint, you don't need any fancy tools or anything. Just your finger. It's nice and soft. You're not going to rub the tip of your finger right off like some of the other papers. Do the same thing, a little bit of a gradient. And a little bit of gradient fall of light. So from the bottom up. And smudge it. And that's not pure light. It's lighter, but it's more like halftone. I might erase out some of the shines because this marble is shiny. So we do get some shines. And by not drawing fully on this, I leave in some reflected light. Tricks of the trade, my friends, tricks of the trade. Get a little mileage out of your drawing device. the software. Oh yeah, so even a little fold up there. We have, coming from the base of the leg, curling up, describing the roundness of the form. Now here's something else that happens with the shadow. Down here, it's harder, and up here, it's firmer. So it's a little bit wider and more blurred. And then it blends into the core. So when shadows cross, they don't double in darkness. They can only be so dark. They can only be as dark as the absence of light. So now I have to match that darkness with the core so that they're all the same. Put the kneecap in there. Really, that shadow follows my original plumb line. So I got about a minute left in this session, session before the break. Put some of the condyles here. Those are those bumpy parts on the outside. That's the wideness part of the bone. And then tibia tuberosity. That's the front of your shin bone. And it's kind of curved. So we give it a nice long curvature there. Let's do the same on the other side. Let's get the tibia in. And what's happening here, I want to make sure I measure. So this is equal to this. This is the bottom of the patella now. Remember, I moved it up. So that means that's my shin. So I'll just give it a little erase here. Okay. Woo! 5 minutes. It's only 7:30. That would be halfway. This would be a long break. We're making some pretty good progress. You know what? I have not photographed throughout this. Normally I remember to do that. People like the process shots on the old social media, but this looks like a penis too. Jeez Louise. It's a buoy. A buoy and a buoy. So, look, I got another one already. Take a little break. See, I'm mad about a horse. Finish your salads, and we'll get back to it in 4+ minutes. Maybe I can cram back the last of the salad. Jeff, are you out there? If so, write in the comments. I gotta wash my hands here. But first, I need to put my mask on. 2.5 minutes. Oh, it's beautiful in here. The light, Keith Springall, if you're listening, the light right now at 7:44 is what you want in the studio. So you will be here at the right time on Sunday. It's not quite peeking in the window like it used to, but the light is beautiful right now. And if it's a sunny day, you're going to be laughing. So I washed my hands. Better I dry them. I always have a hanky on me in my back pocket. I got a whole collection of these. I just launder them all the time. Maybe my fashion that I got from like my punk ass biker kind of days will stick and people will start carrying them because they don't want to touch door handles or whatever. I always carry the same things. Unless I'm traveling on the airport, I always got a pocket knife. Pencil or pen. I got a space pen now. My favorite color. It matches my daytimer. Space pens, I guess you can write upside down and in water. Really expensive, but it's my birthday month, so I buy stuff for myself. Okay, wow. 25 minutes. This is the downhill slide. 2 sessions plus critique. Mind you, we could go longer. We'll see. I mean, extremities and big block stuff. We got a face, so that's important. We can punch some stuff up as well. I mean, I can be more subtle. We can erase out some highlights on hair. Okay, you know what's happening now? Getting distracted. And my special eraser is still in my backpack in my car. So I might, if it gets full, I might reopen the Thursday figure that we had. On Thursdays, Keith had his classes in the last semester. But I don't think Keith will be teaching this semester unless he's out there right now and he's like, nope. I want a class, then you better get it to me because class registration opens on Labor Day. And it's going to be first come, first serve. Those people who are actually on the newsletter will get the first links. After that, they will, so they'll be listed already this weekend on Facebook and all that. But you won't actually be able, so you'll see the price and you can compare, but you won't be able to buy them. Everything is pretty much on sale. I'm not doing the back to the studio sale this year. which is like a first come first serve thing, it'll just be everyone gets a deal. Usually I let the first bunch of people get things cheaper, and then whoever comes late, I'm rewarding the early birds. I'm an early bird, I get the worm. I actually wake up at 6 a.m. I don't show up till 8, but I just feel like the more I can get done in the daytime, because by night, like by now, like this, I'm getting close to my bedtime here. Last night I shaved when I got home, and if you saw that Instagram video, my technique was incredibly questionable. I use a straight razor, and I cut myself pretty good. But I was also holding the phone, taking a video, which is stupid, honestly. But I do it for my fans. I do it for you. I try to just make content. I'm excited about the content that's going to be made in here, because I do think I will film the painting challenge Keith has put to me, and partially why, so that those who can't get in on a Wednesday night but still want to work because they want to square away the time, but they can do it from home, can join us. I mean, they'll hear all the conversation maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but they won't see the model. They'll just see the painting I'm working on, just like this, but maybe a little more silent. Maybe, oh yeah, we play music in the room. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Still figuring it out. Figuring it out. It's been a nice break, I'm not gonna lie. Summer is such a great time of year. Even though I didn't get out hiking or anything like I had planned. Didn't go down the river once. So around my birthday, I always write down all the things that I did. What was cool was I wrote down, I was wanting to increase my reading again. So I started to, after the Jim Quick book, I started to read Awaken the Giant Within. It was a gift from my life coach, Mary, who might be watching this, I don't know. She bought one of the pieces. And he kind of suggested, like, to, you know, every year I take a tally of my life. But in one of the chapters I was reading, it was like, what are you grateful for? What are all the, and I wrote down all the places I had traveled, because I think travel and some of my studies abroad in Europe and stuff, and learning about other cultures is very important to my own personal life and viewpoint. Oh, that's what it was about the examples that you have are your references. And by having more references, you're much better at dealing with problems. So I was writing down all the references I had, and something to the degree of having gratitude, but where would you want to go? Where would you see yourself in the future? So Japan was my #1 place to go my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, my mom used to say that I was kind of like a little Japanese old man. And, you know, maybe that's where all the martial arts training and stuff springs from. But I've always loved Asian arts. My old work was all Tibetan inspired until it was like, you're not allowed to do things unless they're European. I'm not even from Europe. I don't know much about it. But when I went, I was shocked to find out how not Portuguese I was, even though I'm half Portuguese. Because it's cultural, right? So this whole cultural appropriation thing came in, and even though I was a Buddhist and studied Tantra and stuff, I wasn't allowed to draw that stuff anymore because it was Asian. Okay, I'm paraphrasing what's going on here. Well, I finally get myself to Japan, and it was the coolest. But I also really want to go to Iceland. And I'm writing it, and then I see a post from Casey Baugh on Instagram, and it's a picture of him in Iceland, and it says, come join me and paint the figure in nature in Iceland. Okay. 1 spot left. Or 2 spots left, something like that. And I just, on a whim, spontaneously decided, well, that's it. I'm going. I emailed Keith and said you should come too, but the price is appallingly high. I'm not going to lie. But since my trip to the Philippines got canceled, I can afford to do it. So I signed up. I'm going to follow my dream and finally get to Iceland, but Iceland with a purpose, taking a course. If you're an entrepreneur, you don't have as much money as someone with a regular gig. However, you have the power of write-offs. So because it's education for me, it's not the same as like just going on a vacation, I guess. So I'm excited to say that I am booked next July to spend a week painting with Casey Baugh and some models in Iceland. Okay, thanks Tony Robbins in life and spontaneous. I'm not afraid of being spontaneous. But it's also, I don't want to push it too far here, but it's also really cheap right now to buy plane tickets. I don't even think half these airliners think they're going to be alive. So if you're looking to take a trip, or you want to join us in Iceland, yeah, the ticket was really cheap. And so you're away, but that's what loans are for. So living the dream, that's the plan. I'm hoping, like when I met Shane Wolf, that I can convince some of these artists to come to Calgary. It has always been my plan with this atelier to bring the best and the brightest stars to our awesome city. And if you're watching this and you're not from this city is awesome. I can just walk out of my door and I'm at Two Rivers. And a lot of people always claim it's being close to the mountains, but give me a break. How many of us actually use them? So it's not the mountains, but we are close to them, sure. All right, I just shade in this stump quickly, just to have some other forms. The ones that hold them up. We will slowly get to this area. I'm just moving across. There's no right way or wrong way to do this stuff. Everybody does it a little bit different. You can learn a lot from just doing it the way you're not used to. I kind of have the way that I always do it, you know, my trustworthy way. And I'm still developing my style. It will come in time, I'm sure. I'm still working on formulating when I teach so that it's easier, but you got to do it in a way that everyone can understand it. And like I just said, there's no right way. So it's the thing about this atelier being academic. I want to be able to offer people a way into the brain, a way to get yourself into the feeling part of it, where you just start knowing stuff, and then that's the room to be creative and play. But like a guitar, you got to first learn your notes. You know, you got to have your scales down before you can just do your jazz improv. So I feel like, you know, I can play most of the Beatles songs by now in my art practice. Maybe some Soundgarden. But I want to expand. And Keith's challenge to paint this year away will definitely help doing that. We're going to draw for the first hour. And then paint over top. So I would be painting right now if this was our little challenge. So the first one is, if you're only watching these live streams, whoa, you're going to hear a lot of swearing. They're going to be rough. I have decided to only use the Zorn palette as well. I mean, there'll be days when I get bored. Having a limited palette will really push the needs of my skills into hopefully growing depths beyond. And also I do want to work, I promised Shane I would work my Zorn palette more for a year. So I'm a year behind. I owe it to him. He was a great teacher. I was also supposed to go train with Robert Liberace, but because the border's closed, we can't. So, gonna have to work with you guys here in improving. I'm not going to draw much more up there, but I will erase out the light. Still got 12 minutes on this one. Just darkening some of the work that went before. I'm not trying to have a lot of different values in my darks. Just dark, light, kind of like a cutout right now. But that's enough. Okay. Watching this week by week, stage by stage, and maybe following along, I hope that you start to get your skill or the confidence up, because really my goal is to have you, if I could just do figure every day of the week here, and rather than me teach anymore, just work on my skills. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've always just wanted to be an artist, but you know, I have a skill set in instruction, and I opened this atelier to offer what I think is the best instruction this city has to offer. I'm biased though, of course. I got Jeff gonna teach here, Keith is taught here, Bobby Dunlop is teaching here. We just gotta eventually convince Martino. But basically that's Luke, you know, we got the best people here who actually aren't just teachers but have the skills. Might be a little premature, but Nick will be coming back from his master's degree, and man, his stuff is looking amazing. So he'll be teaching here as well in the new year. Presumably, we got to make sure we keep safe, of course. Who knows what will happen? Who knows what will happen after Trump wins the election and the world burns? Who knows what will happen if Trump doesn't win the election and the world burns? What a funny world we live in right now. Actually, it's not that funny, is it? There's nothing funny about it. We're all going crazy a little bit. I'm surprised I actually didn't make a lot more art. I did do a lot of cleaning, and now there has to be much more cleaning in this studio before anyone can come in, and then cleaning every time the studio is being used, every piece of furniture, every time. Hopefully you guys help me do this. If I'm going to open, I want it to be safe. We have a lot of seniors here, a lot of stubborn seniors who are definitely going to be coming. They don't want to miss out. They like to live life. So we got to keep it safe for them, because I'm not going to be able to stop them. They're a feisty bunch here. Comes with the art crowd, I think. I don't know if you guys can see all that. Maybe I should try some other lenses on this camera too. See if we can get, like, it's right over my head, but maybe if I can get something that doesn't distort as much. Maybe there's a way to when it's being live streamed to take the angle out of it or something. I used to know about all this stuff, but prefer to lead a more simple life these days. Am I right? No Netflix. It's awesome. I traded Netflix for Headspace. All right. Last week I did a little outline. I don't know, I might just do some squiggly stuff on this. Not really sure. It'll come down to time. We've got 7 more minutes here. So I'm gonna try to get to the hands here next. I think that's my best strategy. What I haven't done is actually like turned the board. Let's do a little bit of that. Break up the pattern a little bit. Turn the board. That's allowed. So many things that you can do to make your drawing work for you, including rhyming. Okay. Last year, I threw a huge, actually the last few years, I threw a huge birthday party in the studio and Christmas party. We were supposed to have a year-end party as well to celebrate all the students, and then we were going to show their work. And then I had also scheduled in the art burn, which was a chance that if you hadn't sold a piece of art, we would put it up online for, you know, bid price of auction. And if no one bought it, I was going to take it out to Nancy's place, and then we would film it being burned. So people could see that for me, it's like I still have some paintings from older series that I'm sure I got asked about one the other day. People want them at a discount. But if I discount them, then those who collected from the same series but paid full price, why didn't they get the deal kind of thing? And so it devalues the collection. So my idea was to burn the art that didn't get sold, and people could opt in to buy it before it was too late. It's a romantic idea, and I always wanted to do the art burn. So maybe this spring we'll do it. And also to have a place where we can do materials exchange. So say, you know, I had a huge collection of pastels. I gave them mostly I would say $1,000 worth to my now ex-girlfriend. And, you know, she used them. They sat around for me. So it's kind of nice when art materials get used for their intended purpose. I'm sure art materials could have a movie like Toy Story. They're like, oh, I wish you'd draw with me. You know, I've got all this watercolor stuff, but I don't do watercolor. Geez, I wish Bunny would draw with me. You know, the art materials need the love too. But maybe if it goes to a different home. I'm not a huge fan of acrylic. I have a lot of acrylic because I do a lot of commissions with it. But I'm thinking about, you know what? Get rid of this crap. Well, saying that just means that I'll never, even if this YouTube channel ever takes off, I'll never get Golden support. Golden, so far, the best acrylic in my opinion. But if there's any acrylic companies out there that are interested in supporting an artist today, I will change my tune. after I try your paint. I love Rublev, not all the colors. I still use a lot of Winton when I oil paint as well. I do have an issue with collecting oil paints for sure. We've got way too many. You guys probably out there have the same deal as me. Art supply addiction. I also have every kind of paper. But look at, I'm drawing on newsprint. So why do I have to have all these types of paper? What in my mind convinced me that I had to have, just in case, right? You get what I'm saying, I think. All right, so this has to curl in sooner. There we go. I don't mind the roughness either of these, you know, they look sketchy. I'm not trying to get things as finished. Keeping up the practice. This guy's getting dull. I'll switch out to a new pointier one. So wherever it's a light on like the light against, because there's no background value, I'll just draw a line, and that will that line will kind of like an aura trapping in that shape, same as the outside of this wing. It's illustrative and not realistic looking, but it works for this drawing. Like back here would be another place. So the leg comes down. That's the patella, so I need to drop that. Then go across. Then the calf comes out. So I've got my calf too low because that was just something that changed. But because it's a light and there's no dark beside it, I'll use a line. That's all we can really do. Comes in. Olecranon on the ankle. I'll check the screen. Sorry, once again, too low. Soften that with the finger. All right, guys. This is the last. Oh wait, it's only 8:10. Okay, so 5-minute break. Okay, somehow we caught up. I thought I was gonna be behind one sitting. That's awesome, because I do have a little bit more work I want to do here. I gotta check my phone because there's text messages going off, and I don't know if it's because people aren't seeing something on the screen or what. Need a little bit of a feedback loop here. Oh, okay. 3 minutes left. Take a pee if you need. Take a little picture. Oh, here we go. 25 more minutes. Let's see where this takes us. Sometimes this kind of like downhill slide, you know, you get a little frantic. You got to stay calm, taking a deep breath, because I'm working from the dark top down but dark over. A little bit more work on the hands, but I've got to finish it down. Oh, I hope you can see this down here on the leg. Maybe do a little bit more soft smudging, and then we'll pull up the eraser. So that the shadow goes from the shin all the way up, meeting up there. And it's sharp, right? We want to intensify our cast shadows here, meaning we make them a harder edge. Can always run my finger to soften them, but that helps describe the language in which we're kind of speaking here. Soften those edges. A little bit of grease from the finger helps that too. If you're like me and you have a favorite eraser, this isn't it. Get that out too. So it's really dark in between. So I'll just use my shadow shapes to help define some of these things. Ankle. I'm widening the foot a little bit. Gotta give this guy a base. Once again too, I think of the foot abstract, and rather than draw the toes, this is how people draw hands too, is they draw the tubes. But just squint your eyes a little bit and just draw the shape. So I didn't draw a toe. I drew the triangle shadow under the toe and the triangle shadow above the toe. You know, there's like a little bit of curl. There's a shadow that goes across. This is the core shadow. Think more abstract. I think I might have to figure out some music in here. I might just buy those AirPods, and that would also mean I talk less. I love my Audible when I'm working as well. Maybe because someone's talking, it like makes me concentrate. I still wonder what Keith listens to. Keith's always got his earbuds on when he's in here. Sometimes I think it's just a dirty little secret. Meaning he's listening to like Coldplay or something. Or for a while there I thought it was like self-help. You can do it! Because he's so motivated. There's the ankle, bones. That's just helping me determine. It's kind of crazy how thick the toes have to be for this to work. But they don't have to, it doesn't have to look that good. How much time is going to be spent looking at these feet? Really? Hopefully not too much. Wherever you put your attention, the viewer's attention is surely going to go. So, in terms of the story, the feet here aren't as important as the hands. The hands hold on to the bow. Too much outline going on here too, for my liking. So maybe I'll try to obliterate it a little bit. Got all the time in the world. Feels like. Cast shadow. Showing us the metatarsals here. Coming down. Describing. There's the nail. Curling back of the toe. So let's darken that. So that's a cast shadow from the foot, right? So we want to bring those things together. Shows the throw of the light. Can be a little softer on its long edge. Those meet up. Looks like this toe might have been repaired too. We have a second toe, the Greek toe. So at this era in sculpture, they would always make the second toe longer. It's just a conventional look that was favored back in the day. Maybe you've met someone with the second toe like that. It's called the Greek toe, if you have. The tendon that wraps around the ankle to keep all the tendons in that control the toes. So you want to indicate that a little bit. Anywhere that you can put a lost edge to, go for it. Got one there, got one right there. Gonna darken the shadow though. Get more value. Darken this whole tree stump. And although it's catching the light down there, it's not a bright light. It's a gray. So the other thing about the marble statues that are nice is that they are just values really. When we have our human in here, they already have a value too. There's very little white. Wherever it's shiny or wet, you'll have specular light, the whitest light. But that's about it. So you gotta play with your contrast a little bit. So I still got 16 minutes. So I can really start to go in and get some of these closer details going now. Maybe even do a little bit on the wings. We're gonna go for the full 15. I'll assess again at that point, but I have a feeling that we'll be done enough, and then we can do a little critique, and maybe I'll get out of here early. There's a bunch of stuff I still want to do tonight. I gotta do a Tai Chi set that takes about 15 minutes. I get up at 6 a.m. I'm not long for this world usually after these sessions. The 10 o'clock nights, because then I clean up after, so I don't get home till like 11. I'm pretty spent by that point. So I often have to plan my week smart if I'm gonna do all these late nights. I would prefer to be up early in the day and draw in the day when I'm fresh. But a lot of students, a lot of artists, they're night people. It's when creativity happens. So we got to work around that. There's only so many hours in the day, as they say. There's a lost edge right here. So I'm gonna erase it and smudge. And then you can put highlights in the middle of forms, not along the edge, because that will flatten them out. So I'll just leave a little around. Now these fingers aren't pure white. I am interested in seeing, oh, that's not long enough. Yeah, that would be the bow line. In doing that, I broke my pencil. That's very painful. Every time I do that, it's like 30 cents. 30 cents out the door. So I gotta be careful and be patient. Don't break everything. Does he need a figure-ground relationship? It's a little bit more dark right here. So by putting more dark on, I enhance the look of reflected light. This is actually a specular light on the knee here. We'll darken that down. I haven't seen that portrait show yet. The Great Portrait Contest or some crap like that. I don't watch a lot of stuff. I mean YouTube. I watch stuff on YouTube. I really am obsessed with tarot card readings on YouTube right now. Trying to learn what all the cards mean. And a friend of mine posted this full moon reading to do or whatever, and I did it. I have this really good friend, Holly, and she knows so much about astrology and tarot, and she basically emails me back this morning with a full reading based off the cards that I pulled. It was amazing. I would love to know half of what that girl knows. And part of me doing these tarot card designs that I'm planning for the next probably few years, I'll be painting these things. It's my guess. I'll be learning all about them. I really love esoteric stuff. What symbols mean and what not. It's obvious in my older work. Yeah, that's gotta be outlined like that. Let's soften it a little bit. This drawing's looking a little messy if I'm not mistaken. So just to practice though, unless someone wants it. Every time I see like a nice sculpture like this or something at the museums, I wish I just had the time to just draw it instead of having to take a picture and then maybe one day taking that picture out. I spent days and days in the Louvre, and that was just looking like I didn't even have a chance to draw everything I wanted to. So yeah, I took hundreds of pictures, but now this summer opportunity is giving me a chance to draw some of them. You can learn a lot from the masters. Often this drawing night, I'm like so tired because of working. I'm like, I don't want to do it. But by the end, I'm like jazzed and charged up. So even though I'm tired and I know I should go to bed, I can't sleep right away. You know, the YouTube video takes a night or two to process as well. So I can't just like excitedly share the link either to those who didn't watch it live because it doesn't exist yet. I think the robots go through it, and you know, actually I swore a lot last time. I swear when I'm excited. Yeah, I fucking do. And I don't know, it wasn't like banned or whatever. Maybe because I don't monetize things. They're nicer to me. Just like these are, you know, naked art, not naked, actual naked people. So I'm gonna get a little paper towel here, and it looks to me like I can draw some feathers. So I might as well give me a little more resolution, I guess. There are some areas here that are white, so I do have a pencil eraser that I can use to lighten, and sometimes when I lighten I draw right beside, so that enhances the contrast, so it looks like I did a little bit more work than I actually did. Trying to get our mileage out of this. The Mileage High Club, where angels fly. I don't know why that made me want to listen to Nirvana all of a sudden. I haven't listened to Nirvana since high school. Since Kurt killed himself, I'm kind of over it. hard. It's like, you know, when you go through that period where you like the Doors. Anyone else think that Val Kilmer was Jim Morrison when they were younger? All right. Whoa, Kirsten, hey, thank you. That's nice. It's nice when it's like coming out to party. Everyone who pops in, says hello. Got an address on the internet. Seven minutes. You spelled my name Brain, Kristen. I love that. Because if you look at a few comments up from Dustin, it turns out that small genitalia signifies intelligence. Which we could argue for various reasons. You know what I'm saying. Waka waka. All right. That's too much detail. I'm going to soften it. Sometimes what you do is wrong. And you got to know when to fold them. You do have to know when to hold them. You got to know when to walk away and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. Okay. Dare I? Yeah. We'll put a little feathery action in here. Oh man. Okay. We'll put a little more tone up front here. So I've got a light charcoal now, just to give me a little bit more variety of mark making in the halftone area. This can be darker. It's just very light. The Conte might be just a little too dark for that. And if I need to enhance something, I just put more dark on it. Alright? That's where we gotta go right now. That's it. We gotta just put the dark, put the light. Not much more we can do because we got 4 minutes. Wishing I didn't draw this much detail on these feathers, man. Wishing I didn't touch it. There's always something with the drawing. I love when the time runs out, because then I'm like, you know what? I can turn my Virgo perfectionism off and just be like, there it is. Done. You know what? You can use a little more texture in the hair as well. We can say he because we know for sure. Well, our angels and gods sexed, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just draw. Don't have an opinion. Because I'm a white male. Sucks. Alright. Darken that a little bit. Oh, wrong pencil. Wrong pencil. Yes. Everyone should like and subscribe to this page. Thank you for bringing that up. I would love to grow this channel. You know, I have tons of students and stuff, and I do appreciate you guys spending your time with me here because you don't have to. I don't know how dynamic I'm being. This isn't, I'm not Bob Ross, okay? I know that. But I just really appreciate you all for even caring to like and subscribe and make it look like I'm popular. I'm gonna keep doing this. This is all I can do. Someone the other day was saying like me having to get a job or whatever, because things have changed. I mean, I work a lot as it is, but I don't think I'll ever have a resume. I had one when I was younger, but I don't think that the lifestyle, it's too late to change what I'm doing now. Like, this is it. Art or nothing. There's many aspects to it, but I don't think I need to have a resume, unless one day I gotta be like a Walmart greeter or something. I'm getting older, guys. 10 days, and it's my 500th birthday. This was supposed to be a big birthday for me because I'll give you a hint. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This H thing only goes one direction. But that's also why I am sticking hard to my healthy habits. I'm not looking forward to that doctor sticking a finger up there. That's what happens when you get older, right? That's the only thing that happens when you get older. More thorough exams. Oh man. I'm having fun right now. I'm having fun because there's only a minute left. No stress. I don't know. Let's sign this puppy. Let's sign this bad boy. This thing's gonna beat. It's, you know what? It's only 8:40. Guys, I think I'm in trouble here. I don't think I can break this early. But I do feel like I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm gonna stare at this for a little bit during the break. Actually, I'm gonna walk away. I'll come back, I think. Damn it, we got more time here. Just too fast. Maybe we'll put a background in or something. If anyone's still out there, comments. Anyways, 5 minutes. Thank you, guys. Thanks. Thanks, Miss Olsen. You're too young to get my Olsen reference. You got it, dude. I was in love with the Olsens. So adorable. I actually hated that show growing up. But guys, if you watch Alf, like Alf is back. What a piece of crap that show was. Did they even try or like what? They bring back all this stuff on Netflix that's, I mean, even Bob Ross is popular. But like Alf? They were calling it in. Mr. Belvedere, and like they were just sitcoms in the 80s. My God. They had to have one about rich kids. They had to have ones about butlers. They had to have one about fresh princes living, like what the? They were all just about nothing. Sell products. All right, so anyhow, I'm just knocking down a couple edges. This is supposed to be the break. I'm gonna see a man about a horse. This eye is a little doing some weird stuff. Okay, I know. Still a minute left. Jeez Louise. Here, let me hold that up for y'all. See a little more proper ratio. What? Okay. There is a lag in time on the camera scene. Then it goes to the software, OBS, Open Broadcasting System. And then there's a lag there as well. And then it goes to YouTube. I'm going to count how long it takes for my hand to wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 seconds. All right. So there's a 25-second lag between what I'm doing and seeing and what you guys see. So for me, this very second, 25 seconds from now, well, that bell's going to ring. Ring the alarm. So I'm going to just do a couple things here and there. Maybe make notes of what I liked or what I would change. And then we'll flip the camera and we'll do the side by each view. That's always fun at the end. Am I right? This little boy with this little bow and arrow. I really got to remember to bring my good eraser back. You know, you get your favorites. And also when you start to figure out what your favorites are, you need way less stuff, which is nice. You can be more prepared. We can do some cross contours to show the form a little bit. We can, I don't know if you guys can hear it, we can do a little bit of Jeff stuff where we go with our pencils to soften stuff up. I mean, it's art, but it's also just practice. I had a stepdad that used to always say, first you get good, then you get fast. I think people want to rush in the beginning. They want to know everything and get it done fast. Let's try to get it done well. This is a lot about time management. Okay, this is too thick, but it's too late. My hand is clean, but it's already getting dirty here, so gotta be careful what you do. Maybe I'll just do some little lines here and there. I didn't like how the face turned out. His brow is a little too large, especially for someone who's more childlike. And I can't see it on my screen, at least. You'll see what I mean when I pull out here. There. We'll increase the bridge of the nose and then pull and erase out. We'll pull some cheeks. I'm just lightening some things, going around, maybe even making them too light. I don't know. Go the direction of the form, direction of the form. This could go on for hours. The diminishing returns, you know, like get no advantage out of just fiddling around here. Actually, these things are inconsequential, and so I will sign it by here. Batista, September 2nd, 2020. Awesome. So, yay, done. Let's move the camera, and I'm sorry that I cannot show you the secret project on video. There will be an opportunity for y'all to come down. Got a whole bunch of events and stuff already listed on the website, and September 7th all the courses and stuff will be coming out for registration. And I'm hoping, since it's a day off, people can do it, but also that maybe my website gets pommeled and shuts down or something exciting like that, because I love getting gray hair. So I'm gonna tilt it up, come on. Okay, so there's my screen that I'm looking at. I'm not that far away from it, actually. Wait, what the hell is going on? My camera has a weird setting on it right now. I'm just gonna push forward. So you can see, just working off the screen. And because there's a delay, you can see this is the YouTube section here with your comments, and it says 50 playbacks. Not bad this week. I'd like to get a little higher, get some more subscriptions if possible. So let's put the drawing up, and I will quickly move the reference over. You might have the same reference because I pulled it onto put it on the website. There we go. Whoa, we don't want that there. Okay, I'll move it a little bit closer. My drawing is bigger, so maybe if you don't mind hanging out here for a minute, let's see if we can get it closer. No, I'll just cut it down. Tools, crop, and then oh, this program sucks. It's just, okay, that's closer to the size. All right, also, while I'm standing in camera view, if you can even see me, you could notice my straight razor shaving cuts because I was filming on Instagram, and also what we call the COVID haircut. Then I realized, nope, this is just how I cut my hair. But I love the excuse to not go to the barbers and spend money. Savings. Although I love going to shag, it's much cheaper just to put the razor on. So let's just see. I mean, it's not quite the same size because I can't quite get the screen up. You can see some of the decisions I made with line on the outside edges of things because I didn't have that middle value of the gray behind, you know, that concrete color. And so it is illustrative. But I do love the floating figure. In the past, they've had to have backgrounds and stuff, which, by the way, gets your hand pretty dirty. Very, very flat in the shadows. Very, very flat. But I am happy with how it turned out. This was enjoyable to draw. We're definitely getting more things each week. We had rocks and snakes happening before. And now bows, all sorts of wings, trees. So, you know, maybe I'll move more into clothes. Each Wednesday I kind of pick what I'm going to draw that day, so I never really know what's going to happen. Maybe I'll just put a whole bunch on one day. I would love it if it was like a vote system. It's like, you guys vote on what you want me to draw. Coming back over here. Anyways, thank you for joining me. It means a lot to me that you would even spend your time, follow along, look, listen, maybe draw along. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, following, get on the Instagram. Make sure you are on the Atelier Artista website at the very bottom. You can subscribe, because when that newsletter comes out, that's going to be the first link to courses if you're interested, and we are highly reduced by like over half. So if you're wanting to come and do the figure drawing when we open up, Tuesday short pose, Wednesday long pose, and if there's that many numbers and I don't lose a whole heck of a lot more of my money, I might open up a Thursday so that I can make sure all the bodies get in here to draw the bodies. It's going to be a tight season for me, but I look forward to having you guys back and drawing again. I'll probably continue this live stream, but without all the talking, which, whew, that'll be a lifesaver. For me, I lose my voice all the time. But thanks again. Do all the YouTube things. Share this. Please try to get me more subscribers. I think we're getting close to 100 maybe. Well, I have 600 on my student list. I have 1,400 on the Instagram. I have 1,200 on my Instagram. So where are all these people? Just subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget that to hit that notification bell. Anyways, I'll be posting this. And I think that's it. Ciao for now. Taking it out, and we're cut. We're clear.